A man was traveling aboard a grand ship, enjoying the vastness of the ocean. The waves shimmered under the golden hues of the setting sun, and the world felt peaceful. But as night fell, the weather turned violent. Thunder roared across the sky, lightning illuminated the dark waters, and monstrous waves tossed the ship back and forth. Passengers and crew clung desperately to anything they could find. Despite their efforts, the storm was merciless. The ship groaned, splintered, and finally sank beneath the waves. All its passengers drowned in the chaos. Miraculously, one man survived, clinging to a piece of driftwood as the angry sea carried him away. When he finally washed ashore on a deserted island, the first thing he noticed was the unbearable silence. Alone and overwhelmed, he knelt on the sand, raised his hands toward the sky, and cried out, "Oh God, please help me. Send someone to save me." Days passed, and no help came. Each morning, he repeated his desperate prayer, but the only answer was the endless crashing of the waves. Slowly, he began to accept his solitude as his fate. Determined to survive, he explored the island. Using wood and grass, he built a small hut to shelter himself from the elements. He salvaged a few items from the shipwreck and carefully stored them in his makeshift home. For food, he relied on coconuts and fish, learning to adapt to his harsh new life. Though his circumstances were difficult, the hut became a source of comfort, his only semblance of security in an unforgiving world. One day, while cooking his meal over a fire near the shore, he left to gather more supplies. When he returned, his heart sank. His hut, his only shelter and the result of so much effort, was engulfed in flames. He dropped everything and ran toward the blaze, but it was too late. The fire had consumed everything he had worked so hard to build. Falling to his knees, he shouted to the heavens, "God, why are you so cruel? I begged you for help, and instead you let this happen. You've taken away the only thing I had." With nothing left, he collapsed on the beach, exhausted and broken. That night, under the cold stars, he fell asleep, hopeless and defeated. The next morning, he was startled awake by the sound of a loud horn. Blinking in disbelief, he looked toward the horizon and saw a ship anchored near the shore. Sailors were waving at him, calling out. Help had finally arrived. Frantically, he waved his arms and shouted, overwhelmed with relief. As he boarded the ship, his emotions overwhelmed him, and tears streamed down his face. Once he calmed down, he asked the captain, "How did you know I was here?" The captain replied with a smile, "We saw your fire signal from a distance. It was clear someone needed help." The man froze. "Fire signal?" he whispered to himself. Then, it all became clear. The burning hut, which he had seen as a cruel misfortune, was the very thing that had saved his life. Looking up at the sky, he whispered, "Thank you, God. Forgive me for doubting your plan." From that moment, he realized that what had seemed like a devastating loss was actually a blessing in disguise. He understood that God's plan had been far greater than anything he could have imagined. Moral of the story: sometimes life's challenges and disappointments can make us feel hopeless. But what seems like a setback may be part of a greater plan. Trust in God's wisdom. His plan is always bigger, bolder, and better than what we can imagine. Keep faith, stay patient, and persevere. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspirational stories. See you next time.